I had no money. Everything was just invested in the academy. And I walked out and I remember checking my bank account. I have a picture of it to this day. Of like 38 cents in my bank account. And I just walked out and we just went all in on the business.
Why did you choose Jiu Jitsu?
That's a good question. I was super an introvert, and when I started Jiu Jitsu, I saw myself open up more and fell in love with the sport. Now I teach and teach the kids, and I fell in love with it ever since.
Higher belts, you know, Gustavo and those guys, they already can see it happening, okay? With Orlando Sanchez,
they had a warrior challenge for a 6-week warrior challenge, and I thought, oh, let's just try it and see what it is. And from there, here it is, almost 2 years later, and I couldn't think of doing anything different.
that, I'm just pressing, I'm moving the weight to the tip of their knees, the patella, right? Now the weight's off his butt, okay? So when I do this, then I activate my shins, boom. And I keep the individual right here.
I feel like it gives me a peace of mind with my background. I feel like it's brought me peace, it's brought me tranquility, and really calmed me down throughout my life.
Once you're here, like, this is it. There is no excuses on, oh, I'm tired or I'm having a bad day. You come here and you give your best, and it shows. You can't just hide it. People know when you're giving your best. So that's why I pick Jiu Jitsu.
Make sure your knees out. You want your knees to be out. If his knees like over.
What is Luis like as a coach?
I grew up doing a lot of sports in my life, and I never had someone who actually truly cares about their students the way that he does.
There's no dumb question ever with him, and it just gives you that vibe that he's there for you.
He does a lot in the mat, and he does a lot for people off the mat. So when things happen in personal life, I know I had a personal incident happen to me. He was one of the first people to reach out to me and to check on me and making sure that I was okay, and making sure that if I needed anything, he was there for me.
Ooh! Yeah! Yeah, you can't be nice. You can't be nice.
Man, I've seen Luis give so much, man. Like, even today, you know, what he's about to do with Wes, like, I don't even think he's gonna see it coming, but dude, he's just such a blessing to so many people in the past, like, 8 months that I've been here, man. He's just touched so many lives, and I think that's really important in a coach.
What's hard is literally saying, like, we have no money for Christmas, we have no money for food, like, but goddamn, this fucking mat's gonna be alive. And it's hard because, like, when we step on the mats, there's so much passion in this shit, so much drive. And it stems from everyone in this room, everyone. There's people in here who like to see them struggle and they do things and I try to help, right? And the bigger this community got, the more I realized that everyone here in Imperial Jitz and Team Sear are all about helping one another. So for you to do what you're doing, bro, we acknowledge out of you, dog. And everyone here, to look at them, believe in you and people like you. So from our family to your family to Gustavo's family, everybody else, man, this is all love for you, bro. So thank you for being yourself. And sky's the limit there, so enjoy it. Give a round of applause.
This is Luis Alvarez, owner of Imperial Jitz Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Academy in Ephrata, Washington. Luis started this gym out of his mom's garage, and at the time, there were only 3 members.
In the last 10 years, Imperial Jitz has become a staple in the Ephrata community. and today they have over 160 members.
In this episode, we interview Luis on his mission of promoting positive change in his community. And we also discuss the challenges he faced when he risked everything to pursue his passion of owning his own academy. This is the Untapped Potential.
People join Jiu Jitsu for many reasons. My reason to join Jiu Jitsu, it's almost embarrassing because a girlfriend that like we just broke up, and there was nothing in this place to do besides like eat fast food and play summer sports and drink beer. You know what I mean? That's all there is around here. So for me, I'm like, I don't like summer sports. I started looking for places to train, like MMA at the time, mixed martial arts. I'd be like, you want to be a UFC fighter? I don't know what I want to be. I just want to do something, fight, whatever. I just want to do something and I want to learn something. And I found this guy named he was a barber in Quincy, Washington, and he was like this impressive MMA fighter back then. And I searched him out. I didn't get a haircut by him, but I searched him out and I was like, hey man, I walked through this gym and I want to train. And he was all tatted up, you know, all tatted up, and he was in very gnarly shape, just ripped, big guy. He was cutting hair with a tank top. You can see all his muscles and his tattoos, and I'm like, I want to train like him. Not even ever seen any of his training, right? I just want to look like that guy. I want tattoos. I don't have no tattoos, by the way. But I realized that I want to learn this jiu-jitsu stuff. So he goes, all right. And in the back of his barbershop, a little like area, he got some wrestling mats. And he goes, you want to learn some real stuff? I'm like, well, that's what I came here for. All right, well, get on the mat. Look in the mat. He's like, this is what an arm bar is. Hey, I think if I'm me as a professor, as a coach now, if I show students an arm bar, I'm not gonna try to break your arm by showing you. And this guy wrenched my arm and I was like, oh, I don't know what to say. I'm like, oh, it hurts, you know? He's like, you gotta say tap, tap. And I'm like, whoa, I wanna train with you, you know? And the rest of it was history.
See it happening, okay? With Orlando Sanchez, it was like a chiropractor adjustment. And I went to Deep Half, he just cross-faced me and changed my whole game real quick. He's actually the one who...
And so I went to WSU, we created WSU, I think it was called WSU MMA Club or something like that. Being a college student, you're broke. Buying $300-$400 textbooks and having no money and just being flat out broke, you're broke. And Hastings had like jiu-jitsu books, like in black and white. And I would go to Hastings with my notepad and I would just write out as much information as I could of all these jiu-jitsu moves. And I will study them. And then I will go and practice them. And I'll go back and I'll just deep dive into these books. And then I will look at old videos of old UFCs. And I will have those too. And I will, before I go to sleep, I will put a UFC card on. UFC 17, UFC 12, you know what I mean? And I will watch them. And I'll just watch how they break, I'll break down fights. And I'll see how they break down fights. And I'll just study that.
Into the guard, and the guard is open.
Matt Hughes is so powerful. St. Pierre, though, not skipping a beat. He's going right for the Kimura.
And St. Pierre, remember, as well as being a wrestler, has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Kimura's blocked right now by Matt Hughes. You can see that he reached across the waist and he has actually locked his hands together.
After 6 months from WSU, the barber who was like my coach, who was really good, I show up and I'm telling, he's like, hey, we're training this Saturday. I said, awesome, I'm coming home this weekend. Can I show you guys some techniques I've learned? And he's like, yeah, whatever. That's what he said, yeah, whatever. I took it as like, okay, I'm showing up. So I go there and then goes, hey, let's roll. What rolling means is like sparring, right, in boxing. Rolling is a cue, let's go. Okay, I say, is there a timer? And he goes, no, first one to tap. I'm like, okay. And so he's my coach, and as a respect, I don't want to go hard on him. He just snatched my neck and started like cranking it, you know, on his feet. As I just sat down, he would grab my neck and cranking it. And I was just about to tap, right? And all of a sudden I felt like it's not really that tight. Working at WSU with all these phenomenal athletes who are wrestlers who come in from all over the nation, they have helped me out throughout that year, like the 6 months to a year at WSU. And so I just swept him down top, and I'm like, man, this is how you choke someone. So I got on him, and I choked him out, and he tapped. And everyone in the gym's like, oh. And I remember that moment, I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry bro, like, we're good. And he's like, no, one more time. And he goes for his arm bar and he yanks it so hard. I remember rolling my hand upside down. I get out of the arm bar, I look at him and I say, hey man, we're good. He's like, just keep going. And so then I submit him again. And now I was no longer, we were now peer to peer. We're no longer coach and student. We're now peer to peer because he was attacking me. And that's what I felt. He wasn't there to coach me. He wasn't there. He was literally calling me out and attacking me in front of his students. And then from that day on, man, I just kept chasing it. Kept chasing the dream of jiu-jitsu.
So, if you get to train, like a lot of guys,
I would travel to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho from Pullman 4 times a week in the snow. Those drives were harsh. And I would train and I would come back at midnight. So I would leave at 6 o'clock and I'll come back at midnight. I would train for about an hour because all the only class I had. But it was such a mission to go up there and train and come back. But I was so addicted to learning jiu-jitsu. I was so addicted to the passion of jiu-jitsu, and that was the only thing that was keeping me afloat. And now I would just keep doing it. And so I wouldn't study. I would like procrastinate to the very last minute to study for my exams, but I would never procrastinate when it came to jiu-jitsu. I was always learning. I was always writing things down. So I was so driven by it. And I think it's because of just the connection with others. And so I went to Costa Rica 4 months, came back, had an online class, completed it, and I'm just waiting for May to graduate. Right when I landed in Costa Rica, I found an MMA gym. Before I even flew in, I found an MMA gym, and I was training as a student, and they made me an instructor after a couple of weeks. So I was an instructor at MMA Costa Rica, and I was teaching like jiu-jitsu to their fight team, and I got to compete in a cage in Costa Rica. It was the weirdest thing because speaking Spanish in Costa Rica, the terminologies was interesting. I never actually spoke shoulder, elbow, left hand here, right hand. I had to use like Spanish speaking words. And my Spanish was very slang. So I will speak and then I'll have like a translator, you know? And it was really cool, but I got to really break down stuff and the passion they had of growth. They wanted to learn. They were like, yeah, teach, show me. Jiu-jitsu was so new over there and they were so passionate about it. Anything I can show them, they would just pick up. And so as I was going to school in Costa Rica, at night, I will jog 2 or 3 miles to go to the Costa Rica place, the gym, and I will teach classes there. So I was learning school. I was taking like marine biology and some other classes over there in Costa Rica. And then I was just teaching jiu-jitsu in Central America. I never taught jiu-jitsu and anywhere, but they wanted me to teach whatever I knew back then, and I would just do that.
more as elevated, okay? Once I press that individual to the side, I want to be able to have far grip control. My left foot will hook the hip.
When I came back, I decided, hey man, we don't have a gym. There's no gym in Central Washington. The closest one is 2 hours away, east and west, okay, and probably north, you know? My brother and I, one day I went to my garage and I said, hey man, let's go buy some mats. We can at least start training here. And that's what kind of snowball affected to really training in a garage. Again, there was about 2, 3, 5 people, then it became 15, 20, 25 people were training in the gym. And I wouldn't invite anybody. It was word of mouth. And if people found out I was training, the only prerequisite to you training with me was you had to sign up to compete. If you were not gonna compete, I'm not gonna teach you. I'm not about teaching you, I'm not a teacher. I need training partners. And to this day, the model is very similar in our academy. People who come in with different skill sets or whatever it is, attributes, and they have a specific game and they want to showcase it, man, we're all open ears. I'll just put my my student hat on and I will just sit with the rest of the students and I will learn. I will learn their skill set because I'm big in growth and I'm big that we can help each other grow as a community. So working in this program called Trio Student Support Services was a big piece of like what I wanted to do in life, was give back I never want to leave my job. That's what I wanted to do. But I knew I had to grow. I knew that I can do more. So then I applied to be a director of the residence halls. The director of the residence halls gave me a new light. I signed up because I felt there was a big gap in our community college. I felt like the dorms was something that was looked down upon. And man, it was a tough ride. I had a resident advisor, an RA. RAs live there. They help throughout the year. And it was summertime. We had a meeting one morning. I think it was a Wednesday morning. We had a meeting, and it was an 11 a.m. meeting. And I said, "Hey, man, where's this RA at?" And everyone was there, besides that was specific RA. And so I sent some other RA, and they were all kind of friends. I said, "Hey, man, can you go check up on your boy?" Yeah. He grabs his keys. I'll go get him. Goes up to the 3rd floor. All my meetings, we start off by just like breaking ice and just enjoying ourselves before we have to go into the agenda. And he comes in, we're laughing. He just runs in and like just hovers over this large table we had downstairs. He hovers over and he's hyperventilating. His head is down, his hands are over, and he's not saying anything. I say the word, and all of us are shocked. We have no idea what's going on. And so I said, "Hey, you okay?" And we're going from laughter to all of a sudden like this weird transition, but we can feel it in our stomachs. So I tell him, "Hey, I need you to nod and shake your head. Can you understand me?" And he's just like, not saying a word. I was like, "Is it the other RA?" I was like, "Is he okay?" And he's trying to speak, but he can't speak. And he's trying to say something. He's like, he's trying to, and it's not coming out. It's stuck, it's not coming out. And so I said, "Hey, call 911. I don't know what to expect. Call 911, go get security across the hall." I was like, "And you," one of the RAs, "come with me. Let's go check up on him." And we run upstairs. And I'm like going upstairs, and I'm like, it's a long hall, and it looks identical. Every door is the same, every color is the same. And I'm like just trying to count from the stairwell. And I'm like trying to count 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to see where he's at. So when I push the door wide open, we're in the room. We're in the room, and me and the RA are together, and we walk in the room, and the 19-year-old kid is hanging from his belt. Yeah, we stop right there real quick. Every time I closed my eyes to give my girls a kiss, I just kept seeing, like, the RA, who was my friend. I would see his eyes, you know, his blank stare when I walked in. His eyes were open. It was so vivid, and I couldn't shake it off. And then my dad being gone, I thought I can suppress that, but that was actually what spiraled me out into not being able to understand what was happening in my life. My dad was incarcerated when I was young. So growing up, my dad was in Walla Walla Penitentiary, and I would get guidance from him as a felon, you know, while I go visit him. And he would tell me also, like, you know, if you mess up, this is what happens. We're here now, right? You know what it looks like if you mess up. Even though I knew, like, the outcome, growing up, it's hard to really think that far ahead. You always think like you're invincible. You can do whatever you like, you know? And having a mom who worked swing shift, which is really detrimental to a family. She worked from 3 p.m. to midnight. So as we were in school, she was home, and then we would come home from school, she was gone. And that was her life throughout my whole high school career. So we never had a parent at home. It was me as the parent, and me figuring out life also as a teenager. You're trying to learn as a 12, 13-year-old boy, and they're telling you to be a man. What the hell does that mean? So me having to have the responsibility to try to be a dad figure for my brother and my sister was very difficult because I don't even know how to be a boy, you know? So there's an identity that was really confusing throughout my teenage years, trying to be the person, make the right choices without even knowing what was good and wrong and left and right. I was still learning in life. I've always liked my father. I've always loved him. I know he had made a lot of mistakes in life, but he was still my father. And I appreciated him for being there. And our last conversation we had, like face-to-face conversation, when I said, hey man, whatever you are in life, whatever you've done in life, you have to have that conversation to the person up top. For me, you're always gonna be my father. And I hope that I've done what I need to do as a man to make you proud to be, your son. You can see me as your son. And it was just I just had unconditional love for my father. And I didn't put any of the stuff away, but I knew that there was always a reason for his choices he made in life, whether they were the correct or not correct choices, but he did those choices and he had to live with it. He cried, broke down in tears, and then he hugged my brother and I, and then we got on the bus, and I was like, the last time.
He's incredibly special to me because how I used to be to how I am now. I feel like he's helped me grow so much on the inside. And it's hard for me to go more into it without getting more emotional, sorry. He's an incredibly special person that I know nobody else like him that can really see the potential in somebody even if they don't see it in themselves, and be able to help them, not just tell them that they have potential, but actually help them with actions and consistency of helping them to grow. Because without him, I don't feel like I know for sure I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have him in my life. And I'm beyond grateful for him.
As it's coming to a year where my dad passed away, real same time as the kid committed suicide, I was like, hey, I'm gonna take my kids fishing. They're 5 and 6. It's one of the memories I have, the good memories of my dad, is going fishing with him. Tell my boss, hey, I want that day off. I'm gonna take my kids fishing. And she's like, I don't know, we'll have a conversation about this later. I said, no, we're not. The next day I turned my keys in. Next day I walked in, at night, again, the triggers were happening. I was getting very anxious at night. I called my best friend, his name is Manuel Ceja, and I called Mitch, and Mitch says, bro, why are you still working there? That's the only question I needed to know. I sent an email out at midnight to HR. I said, I need a conversation with you tomorrow morning. She drove in to campus to meet me, and she was like, usually when people email at midnight, it's never good. I said, nah, it's not good. I said, hey, it's it, I'm done. And I walked out and I remember checking my bank account. I have a picture of it to this day. Of like 38 cents in my bank account. 38 cents to my name, that's all I had. And I just walked out and we just went all in on the business. And it's been the best decision in my life. Yeah, man, I took my girls fishing.
What is Luis like as a coach?
There's just nothing like seeing Luis teach. It's fun and it makes me want to keep coming back.
He's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable mentor, somebody that I've always looked up to.
He's been helping so many students join if they couldn't afford it. He helped them find a way to come in here and train.
Impacted in a big way. He does so much for the community. He helps. I mean, if there's a need somewhere, he's willing to help. Whether it be here's $1 or here's my hand. I can help you do something. I mean, he's just all around great guy.
Luis is passionate.
Passionate.
Passion.
Passionate.
Compassionate. And just loving.
I mean, this is the place to be. I wouldn't be anywhere else, man. He definitely earned my loyalty, and I'm very grateful for him.
If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all social media.